Welcome to Mission Bound. My name is Tom, and this is
Mike who?
Mike James. My name's Tom Elmore. We're so glad you're hanging with us today. Man, it's been a minute. How are you doing, Mike?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Happy to be back into the studio. Excited about our guest today, man. We got a great one in the studio.
I got to tell you, I'm so excited because this guy is gritty. He is tough. And you know what? As I've gotten to know his career and who he is, man, like, he reminds me of you a little bit.
Nah. That's
Just a little bit.
That's a whole nother level right there. But you don't understand how special this is to me based off of who he is to me. Coming from New York, you know, being
Hold on, we got to introduce him. No one knows his name
I ain't gonna say nothing yet. You know, I'm gonna give a little shout out. 17 seasons in the NBA.
Build it up.
2001 and 2002 season with the Heat, we played together.
You guys played in the
Heat. That's when I really learned what being a guard in the NBA and being a nice guard in the NBA meant. And he was old when he showed me. Okay. That was the
Hold on, we're still building him up. Let's build him up a little more.
Yeah. I will say this. To me, he's the greatest guard to come out of New York City.
Woo.
You know what I mean? And there's been a lot of guards that came before him, and it's a lot of guards that are present that they'll give that mark to, but it ain't no other than Hold
on, but don't say his name yet. You might have already said this. 14,000 points.
Yeah.
8,000 assists.
Yeah, that's buckets and dimes.
Yeah, and guess how many games this guy played?
Yeah.
A lot more than you.
100%. I probably played about 400 games.
1,094 games this guy played. Who is our guest today on Mission Bound?
Man, Rod Strickland. I appreciate you, man, truly, for coming out. Welcome, Rod.
Man, thanks. I appreciate that, Mike. You guys, I thank you. But I'm going to say this about Mike James. I have to say this. No, because you said, like, that gritty, that grind, that's Mike James.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so funny how things happen with me and him. Because I came to Miami. Mike was the guard, right? They brought me in, they let Mike go, right? So then I struggled, right? I'm the old head trying these old legs. They brought Mike back, right? And then Mike wound up being like the important part of us, like turning things around. Like we didn't make the playoffs, but we started out so bad. They brought Mike in because, you know, we needed that gritty, that young, that youth, because I wasn't holding it down for 38 minutes anymore. So at that point, me and Mike was, you know, we were sharing time. And we were in practice going at each other all the time. And I've always respected Mike for that, right? Because he was cool, he was respectful, but then he wasn't respectful. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
tell me about that. What does respectful and not respectful look like? What does that mean?
Well, that means I know who you are, but okay, not today and tomorrow and the next day. You know what I'm saying? After practice, before practice, we laugh and joke, but right now I'm gonna let you know you're old head and I'm coming at your neck. But I respected that so much. It reminded me of a guy named Chris Whitney who I had that same kind of experience in DC. But that's my guy right there. So much respect for Mike.
You know, Rod, it's funny to me because when you talk about that, I remember when I first came back and I was cool on the outside, but on the inside, all I saw was red. And so I was like, man.
Was it pointed at Rod?
Man, I was like, man, Rod old now. He ain't the same player that he was. And so I'm smiling, but I'm smiling in his face. But inside, I'm like, man, I'm about to take this position. I'm about to eat. So I would pick him up 94 feet. No, I would pick him up 94 feet. And he would burn me every single time.
And how old were you at this point, just roughly? How old were you?
Roughly.
30, I was like 36,
37. Yes, he was old.
Which is like 100 in the NBA, right?
That's 100. Mind you, I'm 24.
And
I'm 24 years old, and I'm a young Mike James. Like, I'm just hungry. So I'm in practice. All I'm thinking is, man, he can't get this ball over half court. So then about 15 minutes into the scrimmage, in my mind, I'm saying, okay, I ain't going to pick him up at full court no more. I'm going to pick him up at half court.
Oh, you're gonna.
So then 10 minutes into practice, I'm saying, okay, I ain't going to reach no more. I ain't going to pick him up at half court. I'm just going to just stay honest. I ain't going to look at no. He had me to the point where I was on my best behavior on defense, and I was out of control on defense.
You had Mike playing zone, didn't you?
Oh my goodness! And to the point where I had to learn I understood what being a great guard was, and watching him play. You know, getting back to that, Rod, it's amazing. We can go into
should
this
hear from
all.
Rod, shouldn't we hear
Man,
from
we can
Rod?
go through all this but I don't want to hear from me. I want to hear from you. And the one thing I want to talk about is one of your most unforgettable moments, man, in your basketball career.
That's not Mike James. What's your highlight or a moment that you're like, Mike's the highlight. What's your second highlight? Okay.
No, it's like honestly, I don't have like those like one moments. I always look at it like, man, I played 17 years, so I think about when they call my name. You know, the New York Knicks select Rod Strickland, 19th pick. Like that was a moment. And then when it was all over with, even when it ended, you know, you old, you think you're still good. It always ends on a sour note because you're so competitive. So I just look at the whole big picture of just playing in the NBA, man. That was my experience. Like that's what it was.
What was it like? You grew up in the New York area, and then you got drafted by them. I mean, just that in and of itself is such a rare experience, man. What was that like, getting drafted, hearing your name called by the Knicks?
Well, there was mixed emotions because first of all, they told me I would go between 7 and 15. So I was amped. They told me Seattle, told my agent, if I'm at 15, I'm not going past that. So I went past 15. So after 15 came, I look up at the board and I'm like, I'm nervous because my college coach had called me earlier and told me that the Lakers and the Celtics had called about me. So now I know that means I'm going 24, 25, or either second round. You know, now I'm getting later in the draft. So I look up at the board and all the teams had point guards. So I was nervous. I'm like, I'm not, you know, I'm going 24th, 25th. So then the Knicks picked me and I was caught off guard because, you know, as Mike James, you know, they had Mark Jackson. He was just rookie of the year. I just finished watching him in my dormitory, like doing work against the Bulls in Chicago. So I'm like, where do I fit in? Like, but then I'm like, Mike, I got that. Okay, let's go. We're going to figure this out. But it was kind of bittersweet. I mean, more sweet. But I was confused. And then I was young. And I wanted my own team. And so that day was, I mean, it was a great day. But then it was like, now what?
You averaged 13.7 points over your whole career. That's an astonishing average. That's unbelievable. And I got to tell you, you made the jump into coaching. How did you make that jump going from player to coach? And what was the toughest thing about it? Or was it easy?
No, it definitely wasn't easy. So my last year, when I decided to retire, I had told my kids that I was going to quit that year. But then I still wanted to play basketball. So I actually had an opportunity to go to Lithuania to play with Sabonis' team. Like, I was supposed to sign a contract. I was supposed to go over there. We were going to have this big tour. Like, he was setting it out for me. And the day I was supposed to leave, I got up in the morning. My kids came to me. They were crying, you know, bye and all of this. And when they left, I went back to sleep, got up, said, I can't do it. So
Are you serious?
I backed out that day. I left them waiting for me at the airport.
You literally left Lithuania hanging.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure to this day.
So you're one of the reasons why the contracts have to be guaranteed when you get off the plane. You're the reason why they set that rule in play. They're not giving the money. They're not giving the money first.
It's the Rod Strickland rule. No one gets paid until their feet touch the ground, right?
Yeah. I got nervous, and you know, I'm a finicky type person. I kept thinking about the food, being in this foreign land, and I just couldn't do it. So then I tried to go to Puerto Rico. So the point is, I was still trying to figure out what to do in basketball. I called a friend, and I basically said, because I was home, I'm downstairs in the theater room, and like lights out, like I don't know what to do because my life and my mojo was basketball, right? So I got up every day, regardless if I was out all night, regardless, I was in that gym at some point in time, or I was in those parks or whatever. But my day was around basketball. No matter what I did, I got basketball done, and that was a big part of it. So when that was gone, I was lost. Like I was lost. And so I called a friend and I said, man, I need a job. Like I need a job. And so, Kentucky, Memphis, I knew Cal. So reached out to Cal, and it just was a fit. So I get there with, just to shorten it up, I get there with Cal, but I'm still in basketball mode, right? And Mike knows me a little bit. So, I'm not getting this professionalism part, right? I'm not getting this what time I'm supposed to be in that part.
Oh no, hold on. We got to talk more about this.
Guy.
What parts were you missing? Tell about that.
Oh, the part that, you're supposed to be in at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock.
On time. You're supposed to be on time.
Rod, just curious, what time were you showing up for work?
Fashionably late.
It wasn't crazy, but you know what I'm saying. And, I still was hanging out a little bit, indulging. So I didn't, it took time, man, because I always tell people, and I tell young people, like, your habits, they don't leave you. They run behind you. You know what I'm saying? They stick right in your pocket. So I think people don't understand, like, as a youngster, I was kind of all over the place. I didn't know about time. You know what I mean? I was spoiled. I got my way. I could hoop. So I got away with a lot of things. And so when I get to the NBA, just because you become this so-called celebrity and you get this money, that doesn't change your habits. So I carried these bad habits throughout my career. You know what I mean? I was lucky enough to be talented and to be strong-minded that I spent a lot of time in that league. But, I carried those habits. And so those habits carried right after that. And it carried to college, right? But luckily, like someone like John Calipari, that's why he's my guy for life, because he gave me that opportunity to grow and change. And that's, and you sometimes, like that's lucky, right? Because most people, they your perception of what they think you are, it never leaves, right? So there's a lot of guys out here who have matured and things have changed over their life, but they can't get an opportunity because of what people think of them. So John Calipari actually let me have this opportunity to grow, you know what I mean? And so I became this coach, I learned, I'll never forget, this was one of the real turning points of coaching for me. Cal just sat us down one day and said, I want every one of y'all before every game, I want you to look at 5 tapes and I want you to give a scouting report. And that was the beginning of me, like, because, I'm a point guard. Mike, we know the game. Like, I see it all. I know where everybody's at. I know the defense, how they moving before they move. But when you're coaching and you're around these young guys and just the whole structure, it's a lot more to it. The picture is even bigger. And then even the responsibility. So I was able to just grow into that. And like where I'm at now, I'm so grateful for that opportunity because I needed that to grow, right? Me just coming out the NBA and just being outside, I don't know how that works out. You know what I mean? So being able to go and coach and be around these young kids and then get an understanding, because what coaching showed me, I wanted to go apologize to a lot of my coaches, right? Because it showed me, like, because I was one of them guys, man, I'm 5 minutes late, man. Come on, man. Like, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm coming to the game and I'm coming because I don't want to do certain things because my ego and how I get down is like, man, I'm coming in, I'm going to rock, I'm good, right? But that's not good for everybody. You know what I mean? And so being a coach and watching the whole dynamics and, so it was a growth period, man. And it was the best, those 11 years. And, I was at Memphis, which we won. Everything was good. Cal did it differently. We had this 1 or 2, like, really good players, great players. And then we had these guys who just were great role players, and Cal fit them in. Then we go to Kentucky, and we're dynamic. We got all these special guys, but now you got to deal with how to get them to play together, how to hone their egos down, how to make them incorporate themselves and care about others. Then I go to USF and things don't go that well, right? I think the leadership and just, it just wasn't the greatest situation, right? But it's all good because those are all learning experiences. You know what I mean? Because I look at myself and I think I'm blessed because I've seen this game from so many different angles. You know what I mean? I was the star player, you know, in high school, went to college, star, pros, great, you know, good career. Then I become a coach, and you know, now I'm in the NBA office, which we won't get into too much of that. But just to have, and then I have kids who have been through the AAU system, you know, the high school system. So I've seen this game from so many different angles, and I've seen all there is to see.
So let
in
me
this
ask you
game.
this:
So I'm kind of blessed with that.
Rod, let me ask you: Are you just got me thinking? Are you happy with where things are going in basketball right now? Since you've seen it all and literally from, like you said, from every angle, are you more excited about basketball now, or do you think it's going in maybe wrong direction?
I'm always excited about basketball. Like you can't, you know what I mean? Like the game evolves, things change, and you got to roll with it. One of my other great experiences was I went to OKC a few years ago, and I spent 10 days with the G League team, right? And it was the best experience for me because I'm an old head. There's some things in my mind about basketball, you know, how I see it taught or how it looks on the court. And going there and listening to them and seeing, because I'm like, I hadn't been in an NBA arena or NBA environment in years. So things have changed, you know, the way they eat, you know, the analytics, like just the way they play defense, like everything has changed. So when I first got there, I'm sitting around and I'm just picking, like in my mind, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm nitpicking, right? And then I realized, like, don't say nothing, take it all in. No, because it's important, take it all in, and then you figure it out. But you can't, like your ideas of what you think basketball is, you got to control that. You know what I mean? Now, you can give some of that because I still think it's valuable, but you just got to be aware of, you know, it's like, you know, you coming into the room and thinking you know everything, but time has passed you by, right? Everybody else is thinking differently. So it was a great opportunity for me to see the game and the growth. I understand there's 4 out now. There's no bigs. Everybody's shooting 3-point shots. I still think there's a value to the mid-range. I still think that there's opportunities to take layups on fast breaks and still get 3-point shot, right? Because I don't think you have to take every tough 3-point shot unless you Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And I don't think you beat the Golden State Warriors at their game because they have great shooters. So I think there's, you know, you can go with these analytics, but then it's also just a basketball sense that you can't take away.
But you know what, Rod, and getting back to that, you make the statement that you can't take that away, and what you know, most of the people that are coaching in the NBA now and that is coaching in these in the developmental leagues, they really only have analytics because this gives them the even playing field. But now someone like you comes into the game, see, you can teach from experience instead of teaching from, see, they're teaching from your YouTube video. They're going to say, well, look at how Rod Strickland does this. You know, look at how Rod Strickland moves this way. This is what you're supposed to do, where you can cut out the middleman and say, listen, this is how you do it. You don't have to do it like me, but this is how you play this position. This is how you do this. So even what you said, like, you know, the question earlier, where's the state of the game? When guys like you come back to the game and is able to develop and teach the youth, man, the game is in great hands because there are people that have the understanding and the capacity and the genius in this game that is able to pass it on to the youth. And I think that's the special thing, truly, is what you're able to bring.
I mean, honestly, the experience that you had, if you don't give it away, I mean, even if it's changed a little bit, it hasn't changed that much, right? Basketball's still basketball.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. And it's a rule. You're supposed to give it away. But I think we have to make sure we keep basketball people around because it's important. I mean, the analytics and all that, that's a part of the game now. We can't, you know, that is here. But we need basketball just for what Mike said, you know. I just had, and I want to be careful for this because my son, he just went to college. And so he calls and he's trying to figure out his James Madison. He'll be a freshman. But he was trying to figure out a drill. And, you know, it was almost like he was being taught to do something a certain way and he was trying to figure it out. And so we had to talk it through. So it made me, again, like sometimes I think in coaching and like we want to teach kind of like what Mike said, you want to teach something that you've been taught instead of letting players like have their instincts, right? Because if I can't get to the rim and I can shoot this floater, well, if I'm really good at that, then let me be really good at that, right? Don't put me in a position that I have to try to make a harder play. It's like a three-point shooter. Like we look at all these numbers for three-point shooters, but there's a value. Like I say, I'm not a three-point shooter right now. We know we can get in the gym and get better at that. But in this day and time, you can't tell me that with all these defenses running at me and that lane open, that I can't maneuver and score points, right? And make plays for others, right? Because I'm going to use all that aggression at the three-point line to get by guys. And then I'm going to find the real three-point shooters. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. It's just.
But Strick, that's the difference now. But that's the difference now. You play chess when you play basketball. Most athletes, even the greatest ball players today, they play checkers. You know, I watch someone like Russell Westbrook. You know, when he plays, I love Russell Westbrook. He's probably one of the greatest athletes to probably ever play the game. If there's a picture of what the epitome of what an NBA basketball player is supposed to look like, if it ain't Michael Jordan, it's Russell Westbrook. But I believe in my heart when the coach is talking, it's almost like watching television on that UHF channel that's all snowy, and he ain't listening to nothing the coach says. All he hears is bring it in, break, and let's go play. So all he knows is play basketball. He doesn't think basketball.
Mike, I'm so glad you brought that up because I actually watch him, and I'm the guy on the couch, you know, flipping it, and it doesn't seem like he listens to the coaches at all. I like 1,000% in that.
He's just a great athlete, and I think, you know, when you have and that's the difference between a great athlete and a winner. You know, you may have some guys that may be skilled.
We may want Russell on the show. We got to be careful.
And may be great athletes, but at the same time, that don't necessarily mean that they have the understanding of being a winner. And when you're a winner, you're not only thinking about what you have to do in your individual skills and ability, you thinking about how do I make everyone else around me better? How do I get, he's been in a slump the past couple of games. How do I help him get out of his slump? Instead of saying, you got to figure this out on your own. And I think that's the difference in today's athlete.
Talk about passing it down. We've heard that you are actually a godfather to Kyrie. Is that a true statement?
Yes.
How in the world did that happen? What was that? What's that relationship like?
Well, me and Kyrie, me and his father and I we grew up together in Mitchell houses in the Bronx, New York. And since third grade. So we grew up playing basketball, you know, spending, you know, obviously, you know, daily we outside hanging out. We grew up basketball, went to college, you know, our families, you know, we're like brothers. And the Kyrie, the funny thing about Kyrie, right? My real first opportunity, because you got to remember, I was playing basketball, right? So I was traveling a lot. So I didn't get a chance to really see Kyrie till late. But I'll never forget, Dedrick told me something, and I don't even remember. But Kyrie was dribbling. We were in one of the gyms around the way. And I was like, Dad, he's going to make you some money one day. Right? So, but he was, you know, but I this is when I knew he was like special. I saw him at the LeBron James camp. And I saw all of this, you know, with both hands, right? And I saw him consistently doing that. And then I'm like, that's different, because that's different. Like, you know, the left hand, you know, he did so many things with that left hand. And then obviously the ball handling. So right then and there, people kind of compared him to me, and I poked my chest out until I saw him in college and then his first year in the league. And then I'm like, nah, he's different. Don't put that pressure on me. Like,
yeah.
He's different. You know what I mean?
He got that from you, Strick. You probably, at the guard position, you was known as probably the greatest finisher in around the rim without dunking the ball. And Kyrie has that same, he's known for that today. Being able to finish with both hands the way that you, but you wasn't athletic. He can dunk the ball. Did you just say that out loud? Did you just say he's not athletic?
No,
Are
you
guys friends?
You know, I was athletic enough, but he knows. He knows. But his left hand is ridiculous. It's like his right hand. It might be even better than his right hand. But his father, I call him Dedrick. Everybody calls him Drederick. Irving played at Boston University, and he actually, people don't understand, we grew up together, so we have similar stuff. You know what I mean? Like Dedrick had that, off the backboard. So Dedrick is the teacher in that instant. Kyrie, I'm sure, was inspired by me, inspiration and all that. But that's a credit to his father, his sister, his family. But Kai is just special, different.
Speaking of different, just a quick insight. Not many NBA players make it into this world. What did you think of Kyrie's acting in the movie, Uncle Drew?
No, I'm serious, and I'm not just saying this. And I've told Kyrie has a chance to be special, even off the court. Kyrie's a talented individual, like very smart, can act. He just sings. I don't know how great he sings, but he's talented, man.
He can dance
he's
too.
Super talented kid. What'd you say?
Kyrie,
he get his dance on. He get his boogie on too.
I feel like Kyrie should have his own show as a variety
like
show.
Really dance. Like he can really dance.
Yeah, really. Right, he's super. Like I think his life after basketball is going to be special. Like I just think he's going to do a lot of great things.
So Rod, we dug up a little information on you, and we got a wild card question to come at you.
You didn't get it from Mike, did you?
He probably did.
No
he
one
probably did, Rod. You know what I'm gonna say? I couldn't help it, man.
We will not reveal our sources, but we would like to know where you got the nickname Gerber Baby from, and what does Gerber Baby mean? And there's one story that we're going to make you tell.
Michael, I don't know that one.
You don't know?
Okay.
Maybe Michael tell it.
Okay. My favorite.
Yeah, that might be Mike's story.
My favorite story of Strick. Yeah, I can't remember who we were playing, but I know it was a few possessions went up and down, and then all of a sudden he turned around and he threw up on the cheerleaders and he wiped his mouth and he acted like nothing just went wrong and he just called the play and all the girls are like, ew, like he's nasty.
We've got to verify that. We got to verify. Rod, did you really vomit on cheerleaders and then just continue the game like it never stopped? Did that really happen?
Let me say this. So okay, so I get it now, right? No, let me tell you this. So that must have happened, and then Mike was calling me Gerber Baby, so I didn't catch that part. but true story. So but it's funny. I used to throw up before every game.
Oh my goodness!
Like,
so it was normal.
Most of my career, until I stopped starting, I think I did it in Miami.
Yeah.
But I threw up before every game. Like, I had this nerve, because I've always kind of had this anxiety thing about talking in front of people, being in front of people. Like, it was this big thing that was with me for years. But before games, I would throw up. My nerves, my stomach would mess with me so much. I played with Juwan Howard on 3 teams. By the time we got to Houston, like, the coach would be on the chalkboard, and then I'm in the back. And Juwan would be like, man, leave him alone, man. He all right.
Doctors wouldn't even come over to you anymore. They're like, he's fine.
But that was a true story. That's a true story.
Rod, that is absolutely priceless. I don't know if there's anyone in the NBA that pukes as much as you did.
Yeah, that's the true story.
We need to put that in your stats. Games played, assists, points, vomiting.
You know what, Strick, man? Like, final question, man. And we're going to let you go, man. But what did you learn about leadership, man? Being a leader.
Yeah. Tell us about leadership.
Well, man, I mean, leadership really is kind of all giving back, right? And for me, especially dealing with those young guys in college, it was just trying to give them information and trying to just teach them what's the next steps and, because basketball is so hard for these young guys now. Life is so hard for these young guys now because there's so much out here with social media, the pressures of being something, the pressures of being a basketball player. Like, I didn't really understand or think or know for sure that I had a chance to be an NBA player till my freshman year in college. Till someone said A Star Is Born on TV, and I was like, oh, me? So, but these kids get it so early. Mm-hmm. So there's so much out here. There's so much to deal with. So leadership, I mean, for me was just kind of trying to give all my energy back, all my experiences, And then I found out that leadership was even me changing. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I had, you know,
That's real good.
I was a hooper, right? I don't know if I understood that leadership, right? Because I can bring a team together on the court just because of the know-how and how I'm going to play and get guys, because I'm going to be unselfish. You know, I don't care. I'm not concerned about me on the court. I know I can do this, do that, but I will look out for others. But there were, like I said, habits and just there's some other selfishness, not understanding that those bad habits affect each other. So my leadership was like giving all that back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was kind of telling on myself some, but it was also just kind of giving them that guidance and just information, man. Information, like from my experience.
Rod,
If that makes sense, but.
Rob, we got to tell you, we got to go, but this was an absolute gift. Your perspective, your insight, your stories. I mean, it's just really, man, this is a gift. And thank you so much for being on Mission Bound.
My dude, thank you, Rod.
My man, you already know.
For real.
Hold on, let's put him on the spot. Will you come back? Will you come back and do it again?
Come on, man. All he got to do, man, all Mike got to do is tell me to get on the phone and I'm here.
Man, thank you, Strick. Man, I appreciate you,
no
man.
Doubt, no doubt.
It's a New York thing. See, that's a New York thing right there, man. All day, it's always love.
And then it's a me and Mike thing, because I know him.
Yeah, 100%.
Real quick, Strick. Real quick, do you think you could beat Mike right now, one-on-one? Just shoot off right now. Do you think you got him still?
Hell no.
Funniest story.
Oh no, we don't have time.
We got one more story.
Over time.
We got one more story. I remember one time we was going into a club. I was in high school, and I was always cocky about all
Time
the
out.
players.
You were in high school and you're going into a club?
Yeah.
Did you not just confess?
So check it. I'm in high school. We go into this club, and one of my boys, we talking about all the New York guards. He like Stephon Marbury. I'm like, man, Steph don't want this. You know, Skip don't want this. And then he said, well, what about him? I said, who? And I turned around, and Rod was in the line. And so I said, ooh, I'm gonna leave that one alone right there. So, you know, so even since day one, I already knew what time it was when it came to you.
Hey, let's leave it there. You need to always have his respect. Always.
Always love, Strick.
Oh, mutual. Definitely.
Thank you, Rod Strickland. We appreciate you being on Mission
All
Bound
right,
today.
now. All right.
Peace,
Yes, sir.
baby.
Man, you got to tell me that wasn't fun.
Oh, that was great, man. Strick the man.
What a classy guy. What a hardworking athlete. Man, time has given him such an awesome perspective on the game. He's touched every facet of it, you know? And
You know, what's amazing about him is that he's always been there. It seems like he just didn't know how to get there.
Yeah.
You know, even when I was his rookie, he used to always be like, Mike, you know, don't follow everything I do. He used to always be like, listen, you a good kid. Like, you don't need to go down this route. Even though I'm messing up in this way, don't do as I do as I say type of, until he learned that, you know what, the maturity and the growth in him is going to be more valuable than what comes out of his mouth.
absolutely. And now look, he's sitting here giving it back.
Yeah.
Learning from his mistakes and learning from his wins too. And man, that's what Mission Bound is all about. Thank you for hanging out with us today. I got to let you know, we are talking about life. We're talking about sports and a little bit about leadership here, because here's the deal. Our lives are a little bit better when we're on mission. And that's what this thing is all about. That's why Mike and I are doing this show. We're so glad you're hanging out with us. And we got some incredible shows coming up in the next few weeks, episodes. They shouldn't miss one of them, right?
No, none of them. You're going to be excited about what the content is and who are we giving the content to.
We don't. I didn't even want to tell you who's coming up, but it's that good. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Mission Bound. Go to our website, missionboundpodcast.com. Hang out with us on Facebook or on Twitter. Just look up Mission Bound Podcast. Thanks for hanging out, and we will talk to you real soon. Oh, we got it. We got to go. Ready?
Name Mikey James, and I play no games. Everywhere I go, they all scream my name. Go Mikey, go Mikey, go Mikey.